Pillar Chase 2 has a bunch of monsters. Whether you hate or love them, they're all iconic parts of the game. However, sometimes you get a certain thought about a certain monster or skin whenever it's used. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. With that said, I've decided to come up with a cool video idea of Pillar Chase monster stereotypes. This basically means the thoughts you get whenever you encounter this certain monster. We'll also be talking about the skins too, since there's a bunch that stand out. Before I start with this though, I'd like to say this video is my personal opinion, and if you disagree, that's completely fine. It's fine to have your own opinion. Also, if you are enjoying the content, feel free to show your support by liking and subscribing, as it'd help a lot. I'm not trying to sell out, but I just appreciate it. Anyways, let's get into this. You're likely using Vapor for two reasons. One, you're a new player and you are told Vapor is the better starter monster, so you go through with it. Or two, none of the monsters really appeal to you that much, so you stick with Vapor. By the odd chance you come across a Vapor, they're not that bad. The only bad part about them is how annoying the spider skulls can be. Other than that, Vapors are kind of predictable, so you can't really blame people for using him too much compared to most monsters. In short, Vapors can be annoying, but are fairly harmless for the most part. Rosemary is such a coin toss of what to expect when you go against her. There are two types of Rosemary mains. At one hand, you get the absolute brain-dead people who have no idea how to use her and tend to wander around it aimlessly. This is what puts people off of Rosemary, as they think she's really weak because of this. On the other hand though, you get the absolutely insane Rosemary mains who manage to server wipe every time despite being taken as a joke. Also, something I've noticed when I've came across Rosemary mains is they never want her buffed or nerfed, and they are confident with Rosemary in her current state. Me personally, Rosemary is a decent monster who takes skill and can be rewarding if you're good at using her, so the grind of the Rosemary mains is quite respectable. Baldi is currently my second favourite monster in the game, and I'm currently on the road to diamonding him. With that said, I'm going to try stay as unbiased as I can. At the start, Baldi takes skill due to his slowness, but then takes little skill at the end because you can chase people until they run out of stamina. The main strategy with Baldi is to target players or you won't get far, and although targeters can be annoying, I don't blame Baldi mains for doing it that much. Besides, Baldi has some downsides such as movement, which is hard to control, especially dropping down places like in the pillar drainage system or the intro of the Gilgamesh facility, and Baldi is easy to dodge. A lot of people look down on Baldi because he's free, but if you use him, you'll have a lot of fun. Therefore, I respect a Baldi main heavily. Aoni himself, the blue demon. Even though he's purple, he takes a good amount of skill. He's one of the more perfectly balanced monsters of the whole game. You never really see Aoni mains, but Aonis are always fun to go against. The Aonis that use limited skins such as the Voodoo skin tend to be Aoni players that are better at the game, and are more likely to server wipe. Classic Aoni skins are usually either used by cosplayers, or just people who love funny skins. If it's a cosplayer, they're also likely to use... we'll get to him later. But overall, Aonis vary in challenge, but are overall fun to go against. Fogborn is a severely underused monster, but also really rewarding if you know how to use him. However, he's easy to counter unless you're on an open map. Again, you never see much Fogborn mains, but they usually provide a good challenge for the players. Not an unfun skill, but not an easy skill either. However, I feel like Fogborn users that use the Scarecrow, Nutcracker and Assassin skins tend to be the better Fogborn players, and have a higher likelihood of the server wipe. As for the John skin, I never see many Johns win. Maybe it's because he's kinda pay to lose with the loud but banger theme, but I never see Johns win. If you are a John Fogborn main who can server wipe consistently, then good for you. EXE is my third favourite monster in Pillar Chase, so there may be some form of bias ahead. Like Aoni, he's another monster who is greatly balanced. Ever since PCX though, you don't really come across EXE mains as much, as they've always switched. But they are always fun to go against. The most common EXE skins I can really talk about that I see is Innocence and 2017X. When you see someone with those skins, they tend to be dedicated when it comes to using EXE and will stop at nothing to earn that server wipe. Me personally, I'm more of a Sonic main. The people who made the Sonic skin are the underused but undeniable goats. Lastly, gold EXEs are the type of people to trap you in a room the whole game and let you die to the traps, just because they want that yummy, delicious XP, and they want that diamond. Oh boy, he's gonna be tough for me to diamond whenever I get to him. As long as you stay on the edge of your seat and you know what your opponent is capable of, EXE can be really fun to go against. Uncle Samsonite. Don't tickle me! First off, I'd like to say that if you made Samsonite, you likely cry at night over the sad removal of his old chase theme. Uncle Samsonite can be a mixed bag. Sometimes they're really fun to go against, but sometimes not so much. I am willing to bet though that before the rework, most of y'all probably did the strategy where you made people dance and killed them instead of sending them to the domain properly. Whereas now, you can escape if you get hit, only to get wrapped to dance. Samsonite is mainly a problem with two skins, Scrunch Chunks and Inferno. Scrunch Chunks users tend to be more sweaty at the game, which can make Samsonite feel annoying sometimes, and the same can be said for Inferno. However, I mainly see him more on Double Trouble, but he is a tough threat to go against. Overall, Samsonites can be a bit annoying from a player POV, but overall they're decent. Honestly, I feel like most Springtrap users are the same, no matter the skill. As a former Springtrap main who lost interest ever since I tried actually other monsters, Springtrap is fine. The only annoying thing is the ventilation errors that can really feel blinding. You could say the axe throws are annoying too, but they are fun to watch. Also, I can't help but applaud the axe throws when they hit. I've been hit by an axe so unintentionally many times, to the point where I sometimes tell the Springtrap to wait before he kills me, just so I can congratulate them. I feel like the only really sweaty Springtraps I come across are the yellow rabbit skins. Burn traps can be annoying sometimes as well, but not much. And pixel users somehow are consistent with the base Springtrap. Overall, no major issues with Springtrap mains. They can be annoying, but they're fine enough. Okay, let's not beat around the dead bush. I'm sorry MX mains, but most of y'all are the same. From experience at least. If you differ yourself from this, then that's fine. First, I've seen many comments where MX mains want MX buff, despite the fact he's arguably the most OP monster in the game. He could consume the map instantly, along with all the players, and MX mains would still want a buff. That brings me on to another point. People mainly use him because they either like Mario's Madness, which is honestly the most based reason you could probably play as him, or they use him just because he's overpowered. Most MXs tend to be the same though. But then you have the unholy duo, Mr. Virtual and Fading. First off, Mr. Virtual is madly overused. I'm more of an NDS main and sometimes BX. Mr. Virtual, on the other hand, tends to be really sweaty at the game. But if you thought Mr. Virtual was annoying, that doesn't compare to Fading. Oh my lord, this is literally the signature sweat skin for MX. I have never seen a Fading MX lose a single round, which is crazy because although MX players win all the time, I've even seen a Mr. Virtual lose a couple times. But oh man, Fading. I wish he would fade away. Forest King is a really weird monster. He's ridiculously OP when you use him, but he's also easy to encounter when you go against him. It's a strange phenomenon. Just like how Forest King is a he. Come on, I know you've called Forest King a she before, we all have. Surprisingly, you rarely see Forest King users, but they tend to be tough to deal with. I feel like the main sweat skins I see with Forest King are the Ghost skin, but that's only if you see one. Also, I'm not making fun of any Forest King mains, but every time I see a Forest King user, the server is always calling them a Gooner. So you're likely to be called a Gooner too. Forest King overall is strange, and quite a void to talk about. Niloticus. He's insanely strong, but also takes an insane lot of skill to use. I'm not really sure what the signature sweat skin is for him since I see different skins every time, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably be the Halloween skin. Anyways, new Niloticus players are likely to lose the round easily, so they are harmless. When you come across a really good Niloticus player though, they are insane. They refuse to give up a chase despite the low stamina, and a dedicated Niloticus main is likely to get a godly leap kill every time to radiate the body. Overall, you never really know what to expect from a Niloticus, so you should always be careful just in case. Oh boy, Wist is annoying. I guess I can start and say this. The sweat skins tend to be off-brand, false, and cartoony. When you see one of those, you're likely to get gobble bombed and killed. Wist users tend to be easy to loot, but only for a short while. If you don't keep your distance, you're dead due to the range, damage, and speed of Wist. At the same time though, as annoying as Wist is to deal with, I don't blame people for using him, as he's a really OP monster, but also, he's actually really fun to use. Unlike some OP monsters that don't feel fun, Wist is one of the more fun OP monsters. However, I'm kinda confused because Wist has some amazing skins, yet the sweats use the basic skins. I don't come across many Vita Mimics to know exactly what the players are like, but I can identify straight away though. Lanky is the sweat skin of Mimic, with Bloxer being a close honourable mention. If you're a Vita Mimic player, you likely get annoyed when players loop you, or when they stay in crowds, which is the exact thing that Vita Mimic isn't good at dealing with. However, you get really happy and excited when you get a kill, for an understandable reason. Personally, Vita Mimic isn't the type of monster that I like, although I have a friend who made him, so Vita Mimic players are okay in my book. Y'all probably know this, but Fuati is my least favourite monster in the game. You know, the monster with an instant bone break dash that has a 4-second cooldown. The monster that can run forever if you spam click whilst running. The monster that gives Sonic a run for his money. No pun intended. For starters, so many Fuati mains I see try to make the argument he takes skill to use, yet they always complain about him right as they die to him. Also, Fuati has lots of sweat skins, but the worst offender is Mellow.
Okay.
Horrible! So many Mellow mains make me want to slam my head into my desk and wonder why this guy hasn't been nerfed. I don't really want to say more about Fuati, other than the fact I want to dropkick his goofy ass. For starters, you're probably a fan of Bendy if you use Inkfell because since he's largely based off the Ink Demon. However, I've heard many people say Inkfell is boring to use. I don't really get why people use him. Sure, he's OP, but if he's boring, is it really worth it? You don't really come across an Inkfell user that much though, so I can't really say much in this category, but they are likely to do the same thing. Kill you instantly right as you get inked. I feel like the sweat skins for Inkfell would probably be Hellspawn and Krampus. Yeah, I don't have much to say about Inkfell. Yes, I'm a PCX main. Feel free to roll your eyes, but the thing is, I don't like him because he's OP. Even when he's been nerfed to the ground and reworked like hell, I've always stuck with him. I just like sonic.exe, and his skins are amazing. Also, he's really fun to use. But anyways, most old PCX mains dropped him when he got reworked since he's not as good as he used to be. But I genuinely like Sonic.exe and I looked forward to his release, so that never stopped me. When it comes to a PCX player, they're usually annoying to go against, but at the same time, if you know how to counter him, coming from a Diamond PCX by the way, if you know how to dodge him, it can be really fun and satisfying to do. Now let's talk about the skins. Get ready for this one because there's a lot of meanings. For starters, Ultimate and 2011X tend to be the sweat skins. Born is usually used by a female, or you use her because she's one of the more unique skins that PCX has. And finally, I'm not sure if this is a theme or not, but I usually see 2017X being used by level 100 players. He's a good skin and all, but the Diamond skin's way better. With that said, I'm maining 2017X next update. PCX can be definitely annoying sometimes, but also tolerable depending on the player. I can't really say much about Jeff, other than the fact that the sweat skins for him are just classic and slaughter. For understandable reason though, because those skins are goated for Jeff. Like I said, I don't really have much to say about him, other than one more thing. Jeff mains are likely to crouch the whole game and hide behind corners, and right as someone walks past a corner, they're likely to just stab them. By the way, can we talk about Jeff's hitbox? If you genuinely main Valum, you're not one of the people who ditched him after release. Or, you like his buff and you use him more. I assume if you're a Valum player, you like a solid bit of challenge due to your clone kind of helping the players. However, if you're more of a sweaty player who knows how to use Valum, you're likely to teleport when people are using the clone. Speaking of sweats, Valum's signature sweat skin varies from the very few skins that he has. Sometimes it's the Valentine skin, sometimes it's the Plague Doctor skin. So overall, Valum players aren't that bad, but you do need to be cautious of them. You're probably using Stricken for a few reasons. 1. You're currently using the newest monster and you're ready to ditch him when the new monsters release. 2. You enjoy Slendytubbies and you're glad to see your beloved Tinky Tank as a character. Or secret option 3. You've watched Tubby TV and you loved Cracked Out Teletubbies. As a killer, I really like Stricken. I never really have problems with him. I'd say the sweat skins are probably Lurker, Guardian and Night Shift, since they're the ones you come across most. You could also say the Diamond skin is sweaty as well, but that's only if you come across one. Although yeah, Diamond players tend to be quite sweaty. Strickens are fun to go against, and I fairly have no issues with them. Anyways, that's my Pillar Chase 2 monster stereotypes. Feel free to comment down below your stereotypes and see if you agree with this video or not. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it for here today, but before I end the video, I do have a couple of things to say. For those who haven't heard, I was hired to remake official Forest remake for Pillar Chase 2. However, I'm gonna go more into detail with that on a video in the future, whenever that actually releases. Expect it to release when the next update releases. I have some cool Pillar Chase videos planned. Of course though, feel free to suggest your own ideas for Pillar Chase videos or any fan games. With that said, thanks for watching and peace.